want to bring up our last speaker for the evening. I kind of want to tell the story that she's heard me tell so many times. When I was in college and I was in school, the way that I was going to pay for that was I decided to become an officer in the Air Force with divinity, to help with my divinity school. And when I was in there, this beginning of the war began to build up. And I was actually stationed at the President's Base, Andrews Air Force Base. That was my base. So I would have sermons that would discuss who would Jesus bomb, the books are cooked, and another of an assortment of things. So you can imagine that some of the officers pulled me to the side and said, "This might not be the place for you." And in that, I was awarded this Martin Luther King Jr. Award for Courage. And so on April 4th, the day, and actually if you notice the schedule, we actually will be in Memphis, Tennessee on April 4th, 2007. But on April 4th of 2004, I was given this award on the balcony at the Civil Rights Museum. And in getting that award for standing up for the time that I was in the military, talking about this unjust and illegal war in that capacity, which really to me wasn't that brave. I think all of us do that on our jobs or wherever we are. So to me, I was just speaking truth to power. And so in that aspect, while I'm on the balcony, and for me, being a young preacher and being an African American, it was always an honor to be honored in this way. And so many times, ever since then, it is an extreme honor to sometimes be referenced to as a 21st century king. And so it was an amazing honor to be there. So as I'm standing there on the balcony getting this honor, this weird thing began to happen. So as I'm standing there, I forget all about me and the reason why I'm on the balcony to begin with. And that reason was this war. And as I'm standing there on the balcony, this weird thing begins to happen. And I really to this day can't explain it. And I'm not going to do the this is what it is thing, and this weird thing began to happen. The sun was beating down. I'm on the spot where Dr. King was assassinated. It's April 4th, 2004. And I begin to have this weird thing that a soldier, the reason why I'm on the balcony about the war, but now a soldier has been killed. And I can't really explain it. And I'm on this balcony, and I'm sitting there, and I start to cry. People think I'm crying because, look, he's getting watered. I wasn't at all crying for that. Because I was crying because of the family. And I didn't know. I didn't know if somebody had been killed. I didn't know. I just had this feeling. It was an amazing feeling on this balcony. And it was just this thing, and I'm sitting there, and there's a picture, actually, at the Civil Rights Museum, when I couldn't do anything but just hold my fist up in the air. And I just, at that moment, began to think, wow, man, a soldier just got killed. A baby, man. It was crazy. I remember on the balcony, and another baby got killed. And the tears began to come down my eyes. And I actually was weird because they wanted to take pictures, and I really could not just, it was a weird experience. Because it was what we do, had nothing to do with us, but all about those babies who are dying. And so I began to tell that story. It was something. It was just, because I remember what it was like in the Air Force Chaplain Corps, and I remember, I said earlier about that, I knew what that knock looked like. And part of being at Andrews was also at Bowling, so it was at Arlington Cemetery as well. So I was also being trained in military funerals and that whole process. So I was just, my God, this is terrible. And so I would tell the story, this weird thing about having that person, whoever it was on April 4th, that person who would receive that knock. And I don't know if anybody has lost a child in here. I don't know if you've ever had that. I don't know if you have a situation where you've had your baby. And let me explain this. If you have a child who from kindergarten and from high school and throughout prom night and all those great things, and first bicycle and scratch his knees and kissing the womb and kissing the cheek and saying, baby, there's no monster in the closet, and reading that first and taking that first tooth that was under the pillow and putting the $0.25 there. I don't know if you ever had a child, but to lose a child because this president wants to steal resources and wants to commit unjust and illegal acts, I could not imagine that. So I would tell the story about how I felt. And I went around, and so I went the following year, which was April 4th of 2005, told the story about how this weird feeling, I didn't know, didn't look it up, and I remember looking, I said, I think some soldiers were killed, and I didn't look the date, I looked the scene and everything, and so it kind of corresponds. And so I'm telling the story, and so June of 2005, this tall woman comes up behind me as I'm telling the story. And this tall woman is crying. And this woman coming to me, this white woman, to this young black preacher. And I'm very serious, until we come together, then we will change the world. But she comes to me and taps me on the shoulder and says, my baby, who I carried for 9 months, my baby, who I took the tooth out from underneath the pillow, my baby who I kissed the knee, my baby who I saw go through kindergarten and elementary school and high school, my baby died on April 4th, 2004. And her name was Sheehan. And so me and Cindy just hugged on that day. And I thought about, damn, Mr. Bush, you something else, man. Golly. Your daughters get to go around the country and do all what they want to do. And these mamas, man, losing their babies because you want to steal somebody's oil. So I just say, yo, it's time to impeach this president. She didn't stop there, as we all know. She didn't cower in a corner. She went down to the ranch and wanted to know what noble cause did my son die for. And she has, as I have continued to say, like the civil rights movement with Rosa Parks, who said, enough is enough. I'm not going to the back of the bus. She got down in the ditch, and she became our Rosa Parks for the anti-war movement. I present to you, Cindy Sheehan.